You're listening to episode number 26 of the Play Your Position podcast.
Welcome to the Play Your Position podcast, where your story matters and we make it count. Here's your host, Mary Lou Kaser. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. This is Mary Lou Kaser. Welcome to another week of the Play Your Position podcast, where stories matter and we make yours count. This week, I am going to be sharing some memories of an old friend of mine who I have lost touch with, actually, in the last several years, and he has chosen not to be active on social media, so I have not been able to reconnect with him. But I think you'll really enjoy his story because he exemplifies the theme of this podcast, which is mastery and playing your position and bringing something really cool to the world. And this is my way of giving back to him and all the amazing times that he and I used to share, along with our other group of friends during the Thanksgiving weekend. So if you're ready for kickoff, let's go. I first met Russ Thompson when I was a freshman at the University of Puget Sound. I had come to the University of Puget Sound all the way from Long Island and 3,500 miles away from home. Making new friends was something that I was going to have to do because I knew no one. Now, aside from the gal that I met right off the plane at SeaTac Airport, Russ was actually the second friend I made when I was a freshman. And what happened was we both moved into the dorm. I was in a co-ed dorm. He was on the third floor and I was on the first floor. And we actually met on the roof of our dorm. For whatever reason, we both happened to find ourselves on the roof that day and introduced ourselves, found out where we came from, and there was just that instant bond. For me, Russ reminded me a lot of my brother, and I really valued that kind of relationship with a guy. I love my brother, I missed my brother, and really wanted to have that male perspective on things. And like I said, Russ and I bonded. We discovered almost instantly that we were both going to be trying out for the crew team, and we both ended up being on the crew team. And a couple of years later, we ended up living in the same house together with other crew team members. And it was just an incredible relationship, an incredible friendship. We had so much fun. We got into lots and lots of trouble together, but not so much to risk our academics, okay? But we were mischievous and made our time together there at UPS a great time. Now, once we graduated from UPS, Russ and I and the other folks in the crew house made a pact that we would continue to enjoy Thanksgivings together because most of us stayed on campus during Thanksgiving. For obvious reasons, I was not flying home to New York. It was too long. It was too expensive. Plus, I was going to be going home at Christmas, which wasn't that far away. So a lot of us ended up staying on campus and got into the habit of having Thanksgiving together. Now, Russ's position on the Thanksgiving team was being in charge of the turkey. And I'm telling you, there has never been another person I've known in my life who took more pride in finding the right turkey to serve at Thanksgiving dinner than Russ. He would spend hours thinking about it, planning it, doing the research. And this was way before the internet. So research consisted of making phone calls and going to the library and figuring out where was he going to get the freshest turkey that he could prepare. Once he got that turkey, he would baby it like I have never seen anybody baby anything. It was like it was made of gold, this turkey. And He would set his alarm the morning of Thanksgiving. The night before, he prepped the turkey, he massaged the turkey, he got the turkey so that it was already laid out in the pan. And my position on the Thanksgiving team was stuffing, because I had a stuffing recipe that my mom passed down to me that was just to die for. I still make it today, and it always gets rave reviews. It's the simplest recipe ever, but it was one that complemented the turkey, and Russ would not have anybody else even come close to touching the turkey except for me. I was the only one besides Russ that was allowed to touch the turkey because I actually had to stuff it. Morning of Thanksgiving, Russ would be up around 4:30, getting the oven heating up and making sure that everything was done. Now, I would have had the stuffing done the night before, and sure enough, he'd go down there, get that turkey going, and throughout the day, Russ would, on the dial, he had his timer, some kind of timer set, where I think it was like every half an hour or every 20 minutes, he was in there basting and checking that turkey. And then let me tell you, I have never had better turkey than the turkeys that Russ made. After we graduated, we continued the tradition. We agreed as a group that we would get together in a house on the Oregon coast and spend Wednesday through Sunday together as a group celebrating Thanksgiving. And we did that for several years after graduation, and it was great. And Russ continued to play his position as the turkey man. Now, I want to tell you about one particular Thanksgiving when Russ bought a 40-pound turkey. Now, I don't know if you have ever experienced a turkey that large, but I certainly had not. He was beside himself with excitement when he was teasing us and leading up to, we didn't know what was going on. We knew he was getting a turkey, but we had no idea. And he was dropping all kinds of little hints and things that would get us all riled up about the turkey. And when we saw this beast, our jaws dropped to the floor. And here was the thing. The house that we happened to get that year had a different kind of oven than he was used to. And fitting that turkey into the oven was a challenge. But you know what? Russ was very clever and very ingenious, and he figured out a way to do it. So all day long, we were out doing our stuff. The team was getting their elements together, the mashed potatoes, the rolls, the pies, all that kind of stuff was going on. We were out on the beach playing football. We were playing drinking games and watching movies and doing all the kinds of things that you do while the turkey and everything else is getting ready, right? Well, Russ realized about halfway through the day that by mistake, he had actually turned the oven to broil and not to bake. We were smelling the turkey like way more than people were saying, wow, that turkey is really smelling. And he's like, yeah, it's because it's so big and it's just emanating much more scent than normal, and on and on and on. But as it turned out, what was happening, it was cooking at an accelerated rate, and the outside was done, but the inside was not. So talk about, during the moving the chain section of that game, Russ was way out of position. That wasn't just a fumble. I mean, that was almost like a game-losing fumble. Thankfully, he was able to rescue it. Now, to this day, I don't know how he did it. We badgered him to tell us, how did you rescue the turkey? Because it actually turned out really, really good. And he refused to tell us. And I think there was some pride involved. I really do believe Russ just felt so badly because the center of his existence on Thanksgiving weekend was providing us with just a turkey beyond compare. Juicy, succulent, and great for leftovers. Because, you know, there is an art to cooking a turkey. And I know that there are people listening today who, I bet you yourself are the turkey master, or there may be somebody on your team that takes care of that and you're in charge of something else. But that was the year of the 40-pound, almost ruined turkey that actually turned out to be a game-winning touchdown for all of us. And that never happened again in subsequent years. Russ was always careful to check and double check. In fact, he would have backups. He'd say, can you guys just make sure that I got that oven on bake and not broil? And it became one of those wonderful stories that obviously I still tell to this day. I really miss Russ. I think the last I heard, he was living in Alaska and flying helicopters. Wouldn't surprise me. He always had an adventurous spirit, but those Thanksgivings did unfortunately have to come to an end because a lot of us started to have kids. And once we had kids, the dynamic changed, the need to stay closer to home was more imminent, and, things evolve and things change. But I really do think back to those years at the Oregon coast with my crew mates from UPS and how many amazing times that we had, and particularly Russ and his turkeys. And so if anybody today that is in my circle of the UPS crowd and knows whatever happened to Russ Thompson, do let me know. I would love to at least just know what he's up to, and if this Thanksgiving he is in charge of the turkey at his house. I can't imagine that he's not. And so that is my Thanksgiving memory. That is my gift to listeners this week of the Play Your Position podcast. I am excited to have my daughter coming home from college and have her and my son with me on Thanksgiving to celebrate all that is good in our lives, to reflect on Thanksgiving's past, to eat a magnificent turkey, to watch some football, and to just be together. Because to me, there's nothing that beats being with loved ones on the Thanksgiving holiday. My thoughts and love are extended out to the listeners of the Play Your Position podcast. I am so grateful to have you who tune in each week and enjoy the stories that my guests share. And in the occasional episode like today, when I get to share a story about somebody or something that fits right in with the theme of the Play Your Position podcast. May this day be one filled with love and joy for you. And we will see you again next week for another episode. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Make it a great day. Hey team, thanks for joining me for another episode of the Play Your Position podcast, the place where stories matter and we make yours count. Make sure to subscribe to the show in iTunes if you haven't become a subscriber already, so you never miss another episode. Question: are you on our email list? If not, you're missing out on your chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card every third Thursday of the month when we give one away to a lucky subscriber. Would your month be a little better with a $25 gift card to use on Amazon? Go now to maryloukaiser.com/subscribe to find out more. Again, that's maryloukaiser.com/subscribe.
Thanks for listening to the Play Your Position podcast, where your story matters and we make it count at maryloukaiser.com.